Hello everybody and welcome. I'm your host Captain Awesomeness and I am over here at Omni Karting in Karachi, Pakistan to participate in the big race that is the, I think it's called a Ramzan race or Ramadan race, whatever. But the thing is, it's a big race and that's what I specifically came all the way from the US to Pakistan for, was to participate in this race. I've been over at the track for a couple days now. I did a lot of sessions and I didn't upload much of a video. I know you guys got to see that little sample, if you want to call it, of where I just do a session and I'm just out there just kind of trying to figure the track out and stuff. So as it goes with any new track, you kind of need to have as much seat time as you can, and I did not really find myself being able to take complete advantage of that. Now I did 2 days where I did 4 sessions on each day, which I think is just enough, but not really enough, especially given how tricky and challenging this track is. It completely blew my mind, as a matter of fact. I did not think that the technicality would be there, but it really is, and it's real well made. The track in itself, the layout, I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff. Now I'm over here a little early ahead of the race that starts at around 9 p.m. and right now it is about 7:30 p.m. and that's just because I wanted to kind of get, you know, used to the weather here. Karachi has a completely different weather, I don't know what to call it, but weather pattern compared to Lahore, where it's humid all the time because it's a coastal city. It gets real hot during the day, but now there's like a little breeze that's just, you know, blowing in from the sea onto the land, so it's dropped the temperature. Like, it was like in the high 90s earlier in the day and now it's already like 82 or something. So it's probably going to get chillier as the night goes on, so that might actually bode well for us in terms of being able to get kind of like an ideal temperature on the surface of the track. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I also am here with my buddies from Lahore who have decided to, you know, participate in not just the sprint race that is happening today, but the endurance race that is happening the following day. I'm not participating in that because honestly, endurance races are just way overkill. I just want to put that out there for you all. It's a 6-hour endurance, so it's not like a 24 or a 12, but still, I just don't have the energy in it, and I'll just be honest with you guys about it. And I also want to make a mention of this young man by the name of Maher Faraz Racing. He's got a little YouTube channel going on, so just head over there and subscribe. He's a real young kid, maybe, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old, but he showed a lot of talent. I checked out some of his videos, they're real cool. But as you can see, the staff behind me, they're already working on trying to set everything up. So that's how early I'm here, you know, so we'll deal with whatever that might entail with us having to move from the spot that we're sitting in. It's just my wife and I here at the track at the moment. We're really early, like earlier than I thought we'd be, but I'd rather be early than late, so there's that. Anyway, so with today's race, the sprint race, let me just put it out there real quick. First and foremost, the pattern, or the format rather, is going to be that I think they're doing like a qualifier, and it's 4 tiers of people who are going to go into the qualifier. I think it's supposed to be 100 people. I'm not sure if it's 100 people or more than 100 people participating in it. But after the qualifier, that's when you get into your heats. And in those heats, they filter out, you know, people as you get into the final race. So I don't know exactly how many races are happening, but I'll see about, you know, kind of sharing that information with you. If not, I'll do a voiceover and we'll go from there. All right, real quick, as you'll kind of see, I'm kind of standing actually away. They've kind of barricaded this certain seating part of the track away from the rest of us. So the way it's supposed to work is actually all this pathway you see is the pit lane, and this pit lane then leads right out to the track, but then they've got that little seating area for people to be able to see live action as it happens. The track again is not too far away from the coast, so as you can see from just these closed up umbrellas, it's pretty windy. I don't know if you can hear the wind or not. Obviously I can, but you know, you never know. But yeah, the rest of the area is pretty nice. I don't know what else to say about it other than that. But all in all, I think the main point that I'm trying to take as I bring the camera around back to me is it's a real well set up track. Omni Karting has really blown me away. It's nothing like 2F2F. 2F2F started off as a track that would have promoted go-karting, but unfortunately again, I don't know the owner or have had real active communication with him, but he's focused on taking that track into a whole different direction, like entertainment stuff. So they've put in like paintball and VR and some other nonsense that's nothing to do with go-karting. It's got everything to do with like being like a semi-amusement park. So as a result of that, they have lost focus, I feel, in my humble opinion. Their go-karts are next to crap, and in a video after this, which was actually recorded way ahead of this recording, I will share that video with you guys so that you guys can see for yourselves what happened at this track in the 2 years that I haven't been there. So I mean, that's that. You know, in the end, at least the good part is I go back to the US. I go I get the opportunity to actually race in the OVK series, and I'm most likely going to be at many of the different tracks. Like I'm looking at going to Thompson, I'm looking at going to Pit Race, I'm looking at going to this place that's going to open up in Lorain, Ohio, called the Ohio Motorsports Park. So a bunch of exciting stuff is coming up for me for this year, but I did want to start my racing season in Pakistan just because of the fact that I wanted to check out this track that everybody was talking about. Not to mention, another thing I want to really put that out there for you guys, sometime in May I will be in Dubai as well, and I'll see if I have the opportunity to race at the Cartadome. So that's going to be another interesting place to go see. Obviously I'm just going to go just one time, so if I drive like a maniac, or if I drive like I don't know what I'm doing, it's just a natural part of any place you go. You know, you never perform to your best the first time around. It's just, you know, track familiarity, otherwise known as seat time, is very important. But anyway, that's all I've got, and when any other developments happen, we will be talking to you. Okay, so a couple of things have happened in the time between the last time I talked to you guys and now. So things started off late, and that happens. It's just a natural part of all races, but we were all called up to register ourselves yet again, and then get these little cards right here, which are basically like armbands with our weight class that we need to at some point take care of. Then we also had to wear racing suits, so I'm wearing one here, and that's just a requirement as well, which is good, you know, for safety and for branding purposes. So got that done. At this point, as I mentioned before, there's going to be 4 groups of people going. The qualifiers are technically done, which was all the lap times that everybody did prior to tonight. At this point, it is going to be, I believe, quarterfinals that'll happen, that go into the semi and the final and all that stuff. So they're trying to make it quick, given the fact that it's 9:20 and we haven't started any racing yet, and it was supposed to start 20 minutes ago at least. So we already know that things are kind of behind schedule, which is fine. Again, you know, these are natural things that happen in every race. Plans just get kind of sidelined for whatever reason, but still the mission will go on, and we'll try to make this happen. And at this point, what's happened also is that they've called in the first group. I'm in group 2. So my turn will be next, but group 1 hasn't even been called yet. But prior to even that happening, we still need to get weighed in again to fill out this little blank part of my ID card. So that will basically tell them how much I weigh, and based on that, they will then decide how much weight to put on the go-kart. But because of my weight, which is about 194 pounds, which is, I think, 88 kilos or something like that as of this morning, I will not need to have any weights put on my cart, because I believe the cap is 85 kilos. So technically I'm heavier than what the maximum weight needs to be. So therefore I'm in the clear in terms of needing to put weights on the go-kart. The guys who are lighter, like 60 pounds lighter or 30 kilograms lighter than me, they're going to be struggling a little bit, but I have a feeling that with the added weight, they'll actually benefit, because earlier in the week they were complaining about how the rear wouldn't stick. So with this extra weight, that'll help them a little bit with gaining traction, and therefore go around the track even faster. So key to, you know, of course, getting a good start is not letting the lead get away. And with that in mind, I don't know exactly how all this will happen. Now, according to the list, it says on the Group 2 side that I'm supposed to be starting in number 14, but I don't know if that actually means just that I'm number 14 on the list, but who knows how I'll place in the grid. No idea whatsoever. Which also leads me to another thing. This is going to be a grid start, not a rolling start that I am used to back home. So there's that part. And of course, before I get going and try to figure out what the next thing is, which is driver briefing and all this other jazz, that I told you guys about. Huge shout out to OVK, Ohio Valley Karting Association. I'm wearing their hat, and to Racing for Vets. You know, that last year that I spent behind the wheel of an open wheel kart is probably going to help me capitalize on what's about to happen here with these rental Sodi RT8 go-karts. These do have that 390cc engine, so we'll figure out how all that works out. That 390cc engine is a 4-cycle, by the way. But yeah, that's all I've got. If I have any more updates, I'll let you know. Otherwise, you guys will get to hear me talk during the in-cabin race experience. Talk to you. Okay, so the qualifiers was pretty standard, I would say. Basically, what they had us do is go one at a time. They had like a 3-second gap in between each driver. So as you can see here, I'm waiting on my turn, and as soon as I get a signal, I go for it. And I'm just focused on just trying to get a good lap time. But as soon as I came out, I started to feel something weird with the kart. It was that the top end was pretty good. It's just that when I would have to slow down and recover, it had no pickup. So I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. We're just going to deal with this situation. The kart also had brand new tires on it, so I knew that at least with the first or maybe the second lap, as I go through this 15-minute qualifier, I would need to try to get a little bit of that new material to go away, and then wait for the tires to come on so that I could get the best possible lap time. With that in mind, I started off, as I mentioned, in 14th place in the qualifier out of 24 people. And I mean, of course, with qualifiers, that doesn't matter really, because again, you're just going out there and getting the best possible lap time, and this lap time will then determine what your actual grid position is going to be like. So I basically was focused on trying to get this thing to work the way I want it to work, and that's that. Of course, as you see the lap time up there that shows the 2-minute thing, that's just because the way my software system works is it just saw that I had gone past the finish line and it just started recording. So obviously this first one doesn't really matter. Anyway, here coming through this chicane that leads you into the front straightaway that then gets you into the start finish line. So this is going to be the lap that we'll talk about. But anyway, here, this is a good example that shows you that I was driving real slow, like I couldn't top out any more than, I believe, 45 miles an hour in this thing, and most of these things can go a little bit faster, up to about 50 miles an hour. So I knew this as I saw this happening, and then there were a couple other folks who also were able to get in front of me. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I did feel the tires come on, so I just went for it at the second lap, and that led us to the actual race. Okay, so after the qualifier, out of a total of 24 people, I placed 21, and yeah, this is how it is. Unfortunately, the kart had no pickup going through the chicane, so just take it for what it is, man, and move on into the first real race. Now, I'm on a different kart, and I've already been told that it's also not pretty good in terms of pickup, so it is what it is. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about the rest once I get done. Okay, so here we are starting off in 23rd position. The flag goes down. It is a standing start, so all I'm doing is hoping to have a good momentum here. I maintain my position in 21st, and I'm just looking for a way around through turn 1, which is always in any track you go to, one of the more difficult ones to go through. Turn 2 and 3. You know, so I find my way around. I've got that one guy to the right who is TBA, up ahead of this black and green helmeted guy. He's an amazing professional drifter, and I know that as long as I keep pace with him and I have him in my line of sight, he will find pockets, and all I got to do is just make sure that I go into those pockets, keeping that pace as well. So I try to line myself up behind him as much as I can, but I'm also looking for pockets of my own as much as I can. But here, you know, at this point, I'm just really honestly just making sure I don't get sideswiped by anybody. Nobody's trying to run me out like this guy over here did, which is, again, not his fault. He's just trying to maintain his line. So I still find a way around him, taking the outside line and just getting a better pace than him, and make my way into the back end of the track. Here, again, just trying to make sure I keep up with these guys. You know, the key to all of this is momentum and keeping up and catching up to the people in the lead. At this point, I had gained quite a few positions. I went from 21st to about, I think, 12th position it was, maybe 11th. So I'm pretty happy going, okay, wow, I really made some progress. And I'm just flying by people left and right. I mean, this kart really was great in its pickup and response. So real happy coming in through the chicane to go into the start-finish line. Had a little bit of contact right here. It was unavoidable, but, you know, nothing happened. And we just continue on with our pace. I look back just to make sure I don't have anybody right up on my ass trying to dive bomb me into turn 2 technically. And we come around this hairpin, take a good pretty line that gives us enough momentum to catch up to these guys in front of us. I'm trying to stay on the inside as much as I can, but the issue is that is an inside, outside, inside situation and then into the outside. So I really have to try to, you know, find my way around. Now this guy in number 2 is going to be an issue for us, as we'll find out right now. Look at how they dive bomb everybody, which is so bad, but they got away with it. So hey, you know what, if it's legit, it's legit. But then right here, look at what they do. They cut me off and sideswipe me, and then I got hit by everybody left and right. So I lose all of those positions and end up dead last. I'm pretty pissed, honestly, and I'm going, okay, well, what are you gonna do? I wave at the marshals, letting them know, hey, you should have kept note of this. But at this point, can't do anything. So now I'm in position 24. I'm pretty pissed off, but you know, I'm also trying to shake it off quickly so that I can keep my focus on catching up to the crowd that was in front of me. Again, in these situations, if you let emotions take control, you're going to lose the battle. And emotions are actually, honestly speaking, 90% of the battle. And keeping calm and collected, remembering that we need to take the best possible line to catch up to everybody, and trying to do the best we can to, you know, kind of basically stay focused. That is going to be number 1 in all of this. So I'm like, all right, well, I know that this is a pretty good kart. I just need to take a line that allows me to catch up to everyone. So first contender is going to be this kart right in front of me. This person was the only female driver. So kudos to them to participate in this race. I am all about everybody and anybody, you know, getting to participate in go-kart races. And in Pakistan, there has been an unfortunate barrier for women. And again, I really give her kudos to for you know, trying to participate and do the best she can. However, I don't know who they are. They had a lot of attitude coming in. I don't know why, but it's maybe the way society operates, you know. So it is what it is. But then I notice a lot of mistakes that they're making. One of the things is, as they go into turns, they're leaning in, and that is actually not giving them the most ideal grip. So I know that if that's the case, and with the way I'm catching up to them into these technical turns, I will find a pocket. I just need to kind of make sure that I, you know, take my time with it. I don't have, you know, a short amount of time. I have quite a bit of time to just kind of find where I am going to be able to get in front of them and take advantage of that gap as soon as it arises. So going through here and trying to dive bomb them, I think is going to end up actually backfiring for us. So I'm just waiting. But watch how they continue to lean on the inside. If you know anything about go-karting, you don't want to do that because it slows you down. But you also notice that they kind of get away with it because they do weigh a lot less than me. Also note that the timer that was going on just kind of reset itself. It's because the video got split into 2, and it's just how GoPro works sometimes. But yeah, a little bit of contact I make behind them. They get the lead on me, but again, I'm calm, cool like a cucumber. Just you know, still kind of pissed off about that kid who messed up my pace. I mean, you know, that's a huge progress to make from 21st to 12th and then have to go back down to 24th. But again, patience. Number 1 thing, you got to remember, you have to have patience. Win and loss is just a fact of life. You cannot let that override. You know what your skills are, and you can't let that get put by the wayside. So again, as you can see, I'm catching up here. I can see that they're making a whole lot of mistakes. I just need to find that perfect gap. And really, honestly, at this point, I really don't care where I find it. I just got to capitalize on it as soon as I can. So just continue watching what they're doing, and also keeping an eye on the people up front, because here's the thing. If I'm too busy trying to fight them, I am slowing both of us down and basically removing all possibility for either of us from catching up to the people in front of us. So That's why I kind of give a little bit of a gap. I'm like, all right, let me just find that spot where I know they're weak, and this would be one of those potential spots to see how much of a slower exit they have compared to me, which is why I was able to catch them out there. And then on the straightaway, their cart obviously is giving them an advantage, but still not enough to where I think that this is going to be an issue. So it's just how things go with karting. You have to just continue to be observant. But the good thing is I see that they've caught up to the crowd in front of us. So this will give me a little bit of a sense of relief that, okay, if this happens and she is not strategic, and I can tell she isn't, she's going to start involving herself in fights with the crowd in front of her. That is where I need to jump the gun and find that gap right then and there so that all of them get involved in their little bit of a fight, and I can then take advantage. I see that a little bit happen here with this cart and the other guy, so I'm like, all right, I took that spot. Now then this person, well, I'm going to say what it is. They were idiotic. Number 14 made a stupid-ass mistake of trying to dive bomb, but then their dive bomb sucked, and then they swiped me out. And yeah, I did let out that curse as a result, and I should have all the right to be pissed. So I say nothing at that point. I'm like, all right, whatever. What are you going to do in a situation like this where you're in a different track, you don't know how things go, so just kind of suck it up, buttercup. So knowing what I know about myself, I just decide that, you know what, I'm going to just do the best I can to catch up with my pace. And I finally do. I am looking right at the second and third last positions here. So my focus now is studying them, seeing what they are doing, and trying to find a way around them. As far as lap times are concerned, yeah, lap times are kind of slow really for me, but I mean, rightfully so. I'm pretty pissed, but I'm trying to get in front of this guy who is taking good lines, actually. He's not bad at all, but it's just that I can't get enough to where I can get in front of them before this little flat out slash then break and then flat out phase. So I don't know what to call this particular area, but I see that I'm getting good momentum on them going into the chicane. I mean, they're really slow around the chicane. Look at how quickly I catch up to them. But yeah, my cart is also helping me out quite a bit. So I use a little bit of the bump draft, get behind them, but still the pace is not enough for me to really do anything significant. So I continue looking. My whole point is at this point to attack, attack, attack. I'm not going to let them think that they have an easy ride blocking me or whatever. So, but then again, they're also kind of taking a wider line than they should. They're not really playing defensive. They're just driving. And by mistake, I hit them in the back. They give me a big stare. They're pretty pissed, rightfully so. But then I wave at them, and I'm like, sorry about that. But they took things personally. So one of the things I do want to talk about, racing in Pakistan is people take racing or anything competitive way too personally. Just the nature of culture and stuff, and I got to get used to it. I'm more along the lines of, okay, I got hit by somebody. I got pissed, naturally so. But you got to move on because the race isn't over yet. So if you lose focus, you make huge screw-ups, and they do here in this case. Now this guy, being vengeful, tries to hit me hard as he can to push me off, and I'm like, okay, guy, I'll take care of you since you have made it personal. And again, like I said, this is I just like to be straight up about it. People here need to learn. I mean, there's some grown-ups here for sure. Those who've been in the world of racing, they understand how these things go. But this guy was adamant on trying to make sure that not only would he sideswipe me, but he would hurt me. And I was like, all right, guy, if that's the case, then I'll just play Racing 101 with you. I'll just find that gap. I'll go around you. And then you can sit home and cry all day for all I care. So that's exactly what happened. I found a good pace around him. I'm like, yep, I'm going to go. I'm not going to sit behind him and give them the upper hand. And that's what I did. I take the inside and make my way around them. And now I am focused on my next target, who is pretty much gone out, and I got to do something about catching up to him. In the meantime, though, I did find out that a couple people also had some issues with their carts, so automatically I actually gained a few positions as a result, which is good. Here's the thing, out of 24 people, the top 20 would progress on to the next race. So again, I didn't know at that point. All I was thinking was, shoot, now I'm number 23. How do I take up on the rest of the position? So, it's one of those things as a human being, you just think of, what could have happened differently. But again, I shake it off, and now I can see that the guy in front of me is not so far away from me. So trying to now not race defensive, but I'm just racing ideal lines, the geometrical lines. So that what it does for you is it kind of helps in this track for you to gain a little bit more what should I say, faster entry exit speeds coming through the back end of the track. And I'm still, besides all this that has happened, I'm feeling confident enough that, okay, well, if not now, I will be able to catch up later on in the next few laps here. So I'm good, and I also know that there's round 2 that's coming up that'll also save the day for us in terms of points. So one lap later, I find myself right there, right in front of, or right behind my next opponent, who is now looking behind, and they're trying to do the best they can to kind of find the best cover, but little do they know that I've got a pretty good pace, so I'm going to take that inside and just go screaming through. I, at this point, don't care. I'm like, yeah, I think I've gained enough confidence, and I've got a little bit of rage in me, I'll be honest with y'all. So I'm like, all right, well, let's just go for however long we can go. And yeah, that's how I focus myself on this track. I actually liked one thing about here is that, I can start to experiment with different things as and when I'm actually racing, because the cart is really talking to me. These are very important things, especially when you're in the middle of a race like this and on a cart that you have no familiarity with. See, all rental carts are a little different. Hell, all cars, period, are going to be different. And you have to listen to what the cart's telling you. So I knew that this cart was a little bit on the understeer side, so I had to jab the brakes a little bit differently to get the back end to kind of rotate a little, but I was also going a little too fast through the turn, so you can also see me hopping around a lot. When you're hopping like that from the back, it's because you're not going slow enough, and you're actually losing a lot in terms of your pace. So it's a pretty important thing for you to kind of keep a note of, so that you can catch up to everybody else. Now the problem though is, as I'm looking up and beyond, there is no one left to catch up to. So all I am thinking right now is, okay, I'm going to continue looking behind just to make sure where those opponents are, and relative to them, as long as I maintain a gap from them, hey, at least I know I'm in front of them, I'm not dead last. So elimination on account of that is not going to be a concern. So sitting fat and happy, I'm like, okay, what can I do differently right now to catch up to them? Absolutely nothing. Like, I'm just looking way far out. I see no one, and I see them like, as I'm coming through the start-finish line, I'm like, yeah, I'm screwed. So either way, I didn't care, and I decided that, you know what, at this point, with the finish flag also being raised, there is nothing you can do. I finish up in spot number 18 after the end of this race, which for me, after such a huge hit from two people who don't have any good relative experience, and I've offered my opinions about them, so be it. But it's just that they're learning, and I have to be understanding of that. They don't know what it's like to race, and unfortunately, if you try to teach anybody here what the art of racing is, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. So I think it's still a long way to go for people in different countries like Pakistan, where this concept is brand new, for them to understand that there is such a thing as racecraft, and there is such a way to race people, and then accountability of racers for what they do is still in the, let's just say, developmental stage, but eventually things will turn out. So anyway, that ended this session, as I mentioned, and I ended up in position number 18, so I was pretty happy that at least I didn't get eliminated just yet. All right, guys, so let's talk about why the next recording is not at the track, but at the Bahria Town Zoo here in Karachi. Long story short, what happened is there was a bit of an emergency at the home front, and I had to stop where I was with going through the first round of the quarterfinals and going home. Unfortunately, I had no choice but to do that, and I let the officials know that I need to retire / DNF from the race. But yeah, that's just how things turned out. So the development, though, is that they did not get into the semifinals altogether or to the finals for the sprint race. They are going to be doing the endurance race, which I did say I'm not a part of, They are going to continue on with the semifinals on Monday so that they can conclude it. Basically, things kind of got delayed a little bit, and they do happen in all kinds of races. It's not just in rental karting or these kinds of facilities where it happens. It even happens in the open class setup that I'm in. So it is what it is. You just deal with it and you move on. But unfortunately for me, I could not continue on, and things are good at the home front. I don't want to talk about what happened, but I'll just say officially it was all on me, and that's all there is to it. So regardless of all that, it was still a great experience. I actually got in touch with the owner of the track, and I told him, dude, you have an amazing setup, and it really is an amazing setup in terms of the layout of the track, the fact that it can be customized, the configuration that is, and overall, it was just, amazing. I did not ever think that there would be something as good as this in all of Pakistan. Now, 2F, like I mentioned, used to be great in terms of the karts that they had. Yeah, it's not really a technical track per se, but still a good one. And that's that, So I just don't have any hopes for the 2F brand to really develop karting in the north side of Pakistan, but at least here within the south side, things are looking pretty good. So, yeah. In the meantime, I'm here on a Sunday evening. I'm just checking out parts of Karachi, and it's pretty darn good. Matter of fact, in Bahria Town, this is like the premier spot these days if you want to buy property or whatnot. It's pretty westernized, not to mention, it's clean. It's, kind of out there. It's in the boondocks, so to say. It's not a part of Karachi, so you don't have that kind of crowd or the hustle and bustle of a big city. And this zoo over here is amazing. I might share a couple of pictures and just kind of show you guys what it's like. But I really wanted to talk about racing and what happened and the unfortunate situation surrounding why I did not race. So maybe in the future, when things are a little bit better on the home front, I might be able to, come back to Karachi again once they have another major event, and I'll partake in that. And I wish the best for the track, and I hope that eventually, things evolve in Pakistan to where open wheel racing starts to become a fact of life. Because rental karting, it has its place, but then open wheel is where it's at, especially when we're talking about driver development into some serious forms of motorsports. But anyway, guys, that is all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, and if I have any more, I will definitely let you know. I'll be heading back to Lahore in a day or two, and from there we will, try to record whatever we can at 2F. No high hopes, but that is what it is. All right, I think it's time for me to get out of here. I'll see you guys at the next Apex. Bye-bye. Never break, always fight.